some shocking news for Sooner fans, plus what put a kink in the plans for OU women's gymnastics team's trip on their way to the White House. And your game day forecast, will it warm up before kickoff? This is OU Nightly. Hello, thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Madisen Lewis.
And I'm Taylor Wynn. We begin tonight with breaking news. The man convicted of killing Tecumseh police officer Justin Turney has been sentenced by jury to the death penalty. Byron Shepard was convicted of fatally shooting the 22-year-old officer during a traffic stop in 2017. Shepard's family testified during the sentencing hearing, asking the prosecution to recommend life in prison instead of the death penalty. However, today the jury has decided Byron Shepard should receive the death penalty for his crime. The formal sentencing will be at 9 a.m. on January 3rd.
Shock among Sooner fans last night as a big playmaker for the Oklahoma football team announces his retirement on social media. OU Nightly's Cal Day has been following this story all day. He joins us live with the details. Cal?
Yeah, Taylor and Madisen, I'm outside Oklahoma Memorial Stadium where the Sooners are getting ready for a big matchup tomorrow night. However, they're going to be without a key piece of their offense moving forward as tight end Grant Calcaterra announces his retirement from football.
Dear Sooner Nation, my friends, family, and everybody who's had an impact on my career and my life.
Oklahoma football tight end Grant Calcaterra calls it the hardest decision of his life.
Ultimately, we came to the conclusion that it would be best for me to step away from the game.
This after the star has been sidelined with another concussion in the crimson and cream uniform. Calcaterra admits he's had his fair share while playing the game, consulting with medical professionals in the program and around the nation to make this decision. The Sooner last played in an early October contest. Coach Riley candid in his weekly injury reports, including one from this Monday.
Yeah, Grant's status still won't be available this week. You know, could continue to monitor, but not ready.
The NCAA partners with the Department of Defense to create the largest study for concussions, and OU Athletics is about one of 30 programs that contributes injury data for research. Calcaterra becomes the latest Sooner to retire from concussion-related injuries. Former players Charles Walker, Tay Evans, and Daniel Brooks making the similar choice in recent memory to hang it up. Now, Calcaterra says he already has plans for what's next. He says he's planning on graduating in May, and he'll move back home to Southern California where he will pursue a career as a firefighter. Now, stick around because coming up, our Big Friday sports team will analyze what this loss means for the Sooners and who could step up to fill the void. For now, we're live in Norman. Cal Day, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Cal. The OU women's gymnastic team is visiting the nation's capital this weekend for the NCAA Collegiate National Champions Day. The team is joined by other collegiate sports teams from across the country. All in attendance are set to be honored at the White House for their athletic achievements.
Members of the Columbia University fencing team plan to confront President Trump today during the NCAA Collegiate National Championship Day at the White House. As you can see from the video, the athletes were ushered out as a precaution when news of the possible confrontation broke. The fencing team states Trump's administration stands on gender issues as their reason. About half of the team will not be in attendance because of scheduling issues and some due to political disagreement. The co-ed team plans to wear matching white lapel pins and carry copies of the letter they wrote to Trump.
Well, and back here at home, there's no doubt that winter is back.
But will things warm up before tomorrow night's big game? Martin Lowrimore joins us with a first look at the forecast.
It definitely has been a soggy day throughout the entire state. Gloomy, soggy, however you want to put it. It's actually just been not that nice of a day. As of right now in Oklahoma City, skyline cam, Devon Towers looking a little gloomy once again with that cloudy skies, 38 degrees. Dew point at just at about freezing with those winds coming out of the north. Makes it feel a little cooler. There are some showers that are still left on the eastern part of the state. But in the western part of the state, especially the Panhandle, they're starting to see a couple snow showers, but those really won't be any effect for here in Norman and Oklahoma City. Looking at the rest of the day, we can see those partly cloudy skies, mostly cloudy skies with a chance of rain, maybe some drizzle left over. The wind chill will be very chilly. We're going to look at the weekend clearing, another warm up in the start of next week, and your Thanksgiving forecast looking a little cooler. Taylor and Madisen, back to you.
Thanks, Martin. We're learning more tonight about 2 Air Force members killed in a training exercise in northwest Oklahoma. The Air Force has released the names of 2 men killed. 47-year-old Lieutenant Colonel John Matt Kincaid was an instructor assigned to the 5th Flying Training Squadron, and 2nd Lieutenant Travis B. Wilkie, a 23-year-old student pilot assigned to the 71st Student Squadron. The plane crash happened during training just after 9 a.m. yesterday at Vance Air Force Base in Enid. And the Trump administration is pursuing its promised border wall in a new and more aggressive way. Otto Waggoner joins us in the News Center with more on the story and more national headlines.
Thanks, Taylor. After years of build that wall chants, the Trump administration is pursuing an aggressive land grab along the southwest border to bring the border wall into existence. According to 2 U.S. defense officials, the administration has sent right of entry letters to multiple homes in Texas and other border states. Landowners who sign the letter will let the government conduct environmental assessments, property surveys, and other work. Those who refuse to sign the letter may be subject to eminent domain. This year alone, the administration has filed 29 eminent domain suits tied to border wall construction. Land being assessed will be using funds redirected from various military projects. A 13-year-old Los Angeles boy was taken into custody after allegedly shooting a middle school. The threat was overheard by multiple students, prompting administrators to contact authorities. Investigators seized an unregistered rifle with a high-capacity magazine, about 100 rounds of ammunition, a list of names, and a hand-drawn map of the school in the suspect's home. In the days ahead, Trump will face an important decision about Hong Kong's pro-democracy protests. A bill supporting the democracy movement passed in both houses of Congress and awaits presidential approval. If the bill is signed into the seemingly never-ending trade talks with Beijing, may open a door of consequences. In the meantime, Hong Kong police are concerned about the potential unrest this Sunday as voters cast their ballots in local elections. And a youth science team here in Norman has created a first-of-its-kind IEC nuclear fusion reactor that uses hydrogen as its energy source instead of uranium.
Thank you, Autumn. And OU's Price College of Business is introducing some changes to promote diversity and inclusion.
Stay with us to find out about the new position in the college when we return.
Plus, an Eastern Oklahoma man was pronounced dead after being trapped in a donation bin. Stay with us.
OU's Price College of Business is moving forward in its diversity and inclusion efforts. Wayne Thomas, interim dean of the Business College, announced a new D&I director last week. Courtney McLean wants to implement a more effective way of responding to diversity challenges.
It starts from the bottom to cultivate a culture where everybody really is taken into consideration that these groups, minorities, are not being not served as the rest of the population of students are.
It's well known on this campus, OU has been widely criticized for not working hard enough to meet the needs of its racially and ethnically diverse community. By the way, U.S. News and World Report ranked Price College's undergrad business program 50th in the nation in its 2020 Best Colleges rankings. That's up 12 spots from last year.
Police in Eastern Oklahoma says a man has died after being trapped inside a donation bin. Police responded to the call and found the man hanging out of the bin in the parking lot of a grocery store in Okmulgee on Wednesday. It took several minutes for the police to free the man, and he was then taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Authorities are still trying to identify the man, and no cause of death has been announced. And a Kansas City hospital is celebrating the release of a new movie this weekend.
Stay with us to find out how this hospital is getting festive. Plus, Martin, are these cold temperatures here to stay?
Hopefully they don't stay very long, but we are seeing a possibility of a warm-up next week. I'll give you the details after the break. Come back to OU Nightly. It's been a soggy day throughout the entire state. Cold, wet. Luckily, the wet's going to end, but looks like the cool is probably not going to for the rest of the day. Starting right now, 38 degrees in Norman, those cloudy skies. Northwest winds out of 10 miles an hour, giving us feeling a little colder than we actually are. That dew point sitting just above freezing. Rainfall totals across the entire state. They saw some more across the eastern edge of the state. Norman saw just under an inch of rain, with other parts of the state seeing about a half to about a quarter of an inch. Eastern part of the state actually seeing upwards to about an inch. So we've got right now, as of the live radar, there are some specks of rain still left in the eastern edge of the state. But actually in the panhandle, they're starting to see a couple snowflakes. Sadly, they won't be making their way here to the central part of the state. They'll be staying in the panhandle and mainly dissipating throughout the day. Right now, current temperatures sitting in the central part of the state around 38 degrees in both OKC and Norman area. Colder in the western part of the state, warmer in the eastern part as that cold front starts settling its air in. The wind chill definitely, though. Norman sitting just below freezing and starting to see some 20s appearing in the western part of the state. So it's pretty chilly out there with those winds. Lows tonight, we're going to get a little even colder. Our low tonight is going to be sitting, well, how about we're feeling right now at 31 degrees. Notice that normal at 38 degrees. It's a little chillier than it has been, but it's not where we were before when we were hitting those 20s and teens. Definitely not where we were before. Some 20s in the western part of the state for tonight as those winds are starting to shift and make their way in. As you wake up in the morning, the clouds will be dissipating throughout the day. Temperatures going up. Winds will be shifting toward the west, so it's going to be causing those temperatures to start going up as we go into the next part of this week. When are you going to put up those Christmas lights? I haven't put mine up yet, but Saturday, I wouldn't say yes or no. It really depends on if you like the cold temperatures or not. High at 53, but as we go into Sunday, Monday, those temperatures are going to start getting a little warmer. The winds will be very low, coming out of the south, 5 to 10 miles an hour. Going into your 2-day forecast, starting on Saturday and Sunday, going to be clearing out through the next few days. Sunday is going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be just about average for this time of year as a fall day. Going into the rest of the weekend, into your Turkey Day, by Thursday, we're going to be starting to see some cooler temperatures. Those winds will be starting to shift back out of the north with some rain possible for your Thanksgiving and your Black Friday shopping. So if you're out there going into some Black Friday shopping, you might need to have to get an umbrella because this might be a little wet around here.
Well, man, I don't know about you, Madison, but that forecast looks nice.
Oh, I'm hoping for it. These next few days are definitely going to be nice. I'd take advantage of it before that rain starts.
Oh, yeah. Sunshine, finally, huh?
Just in time for Frozen 2 this weekend, some movies. And it is a big weekend in the box office with the premiere of Frozen 2, and a Kansas City hospital has a unique way of celebrating.
It doesn't get much cuter than this. Check out the infant versions of Olaf the Snowman, Princess Anna, and Queen Elsa melting hearts in the nursery at St. Luke's South Hospital.
Although these little bundles of joy likely won't be among the theaters goers this weekend, they sure are making their mark on social media.
And that is all the time we have for news this Friday night.
But don't go anywhere. The Big Friday sports team is here.
And I'm going to have your game day forecast coming up from me with James and Chloe.
James, what's going on this Friday?
Well, as you heard earlier, Grant Calcaterra is out for the year and his career is over. However, coming up on Big Friday Sports, we'll tell you who might be filling in the big man's shoes and what to expect.
As you heard earlier, OU tight end Grant Calcaterra announced his retirement from football last night.
The last game he played in Crimson and Cream was October 5th. That was 5 games ago.
Before that, he caught only 5 passes for 79 yards in 5 games this season.
Yeah, they kind of bottled him up, and in a video posted to Twitter, Calc explained that his concussion in practice last month, along with multiple others, was the deciding factor for his withdrawal.
The soon-to-be firefighter will always be remembered for his one-handed TD catch in the 2018 Big 12 championship game.
The California native leaves behind some big shoes to fill.
Last year, Calcaterra was a beast, catching 26 passes for 396 yards and 6 touchdowns. So now the question is, who is next? From Mark Andrews to Calc to who, James?
Well, Chloe, Austin Stogner seems to be the best option. Back in the summer, Lincoln Riley describes him as the most highly recruited tight end in the country. In addition to Stogner, Lee Morris will also be shooting his shot.
Well, James, shooters gotta shoot. The Game Day U Squad will join to take us around campus and give us their takes.
And this time, they'll be calling out a senior.
Brooke, Shiloh, Parker, and Soule. Let's hear it.
Brooke Murski here on the 3rd floor of Gaylord Hall, looking straight across the street to the beautiful Palace on the Prairie. What a game for the Sooners this past weekend in Waco against the Bears. Now tomorrow, the Sooners will go up against TCU. William Soule has more.
Thanks, Brooke. I'm standing here outside the stadium to talk about Neville Gallimore today. A senior, a captain, and a leader on this defense that hasn't really been putting up the statistical numbers I think he sees in himself. 2 or less tackles in the last 3 games. Hasn't recorded a sack since the game against Texas a couple weeks ago. So I think he has this TCU game marked on his calendar as an opportunity to get back right in the stat sheet. This TCU team, 104th in the country, sandwiched somewhere between Toledo and UConn, and sacks allowed this year with 26. That's 8th in the Big 12. So I think Neville is going to be coming into this game hungry, looking to make an impact. I'm going to toss it over to Shiloh with another defensive leader on this team, Parnell Motley.
Thanks, William. I'm here at the end of the South Oval. It is the hub for all things students here on campus. And one student who's going to be walking these pathways for the last time is safety Parnell Motley. He's going to be my senior call out today. Now, we have seen his growth over the past 4 years, definitely when it comes to disrupting offenses. 2 key instances come to mind whenever we played Iowa State, and he caught the ball in the end zone when Iowa State was going for the 2-point conversion, and then more so recently when he literally punched the ball out of a Baylor Bears hands for a turnover, a key turnover for the Sooners this past Saturday. He is definitely going to be one that they miss on the defensive side of the ball, That's all I've got for you right now. I'm going to turn it over to Parker Thune for another senior call out.
Now, it really is remarkable to consider that this senior class's legacy is going to largely be defined by a man who a year ago at this time was wearing a different shade of crimson 1,000 miles away. I'm speaking, of course, of Jalen Hurts. The star signal caller has already inked his name into the record books on several occasions over the course of his first 10 games as a Sooner. Now, due to the brilliance of LSU's Joe Burrow, it appears Hurts' path to the Heisman Trophy has been foreclosed, but the Sooners' path to the college football playoff has not. And Hurts has 3 more games to catapult his team into the championship field and into the hearts and minds of Sooner Nation forever. Brooke?
Now that's a wrap from the Game Day U team. If you want to hear more, you can watch us live at 8 a.m. tomorrow on OU TV or on Facebook Live. And be sure to follow Game Day U on all our social media. Chloe, James, back to you.
Well, James, men's basketball is undefeated.
That's what Sooner fans want to hear, and so many players had great nights on Thursday's win over Maryland Eastern Shore. OU's bench even scored 33 points. One of those players being freshman Victor E. Walker, who dunked on the Hawks and scored 13 points on his own.
Christian Doolittle became the first Big 12 player to shoot 100% from the field on at least 7 attempts. Overall, the Sooners scored 91 points for a season high, beating the Hawks 64 points.
We'd like to play the 40 minutes. We haven't done that yet, so that's probably going to be the focus next couple of days in practice. To we always talk about next possession is the only one that counts. It's the most important one, and we've still got to grab a hold of that mentality a little bit more.
Picking up their 3rd sweep in the Big 12 against Kansas State on Wednesday, OU volleyball now takes on West Virginia tonight at 6 for senior night.
Aaron Dibble, Ashlyn Dunbar, Brianna Catacu, and Haley Sanchez will be honored in a pre-match ceremony.
Last match, Dunbar led the team with 16 points.
And Catacu is 1st in total blocks and 1st in blocks per set.
It'll be interesting to see them all sweep with their families before the match and turn into these killer seniors during the game.
Yes, it will, James. And the Sooners have a night game against TCU this Saturday.
And coming up, we'll tell you the other big games in college football and what needs to happen for OU to make the playoffs. It's our last home game of the season.
So tell me, please, that the weather is going to be good this weekend.
It is going to start off pretty nice. Starting about in those 50s of this temperature, going to be getting into the second half. You are going to be dropping your way into the 30s. Hopefully not by game time, but a little bit after it will drop into the 30s. It's definitely going to be clearing throughout the entire game. And we're going to be looking at a bit of a chilly second half.
All right, thanks, Marty. And the Oklahoma City Thunder are struggling this season, sitting at 5-9, and tonight they host a stout Lakers team.
The two faced each other in LA on Tuesday, and the Thunder fell 112-107. Los Angeles is fierce defensively this year, ranking 2nd in the NBA and are 12-2 on the season.
Tip-off for that one is 7 o'clock at the Peak. And now turning to the college football playoff scene, this weekend's matchup between Penn State and Ohio State has huge implications for the Sooners' college football playoff hopes.
Penn State sits at 8th in the country, while Ohio State sits at 2nd. The Buckeyes are undefeated, and the Lions' only loss this season came from Minnesota in Minneapolis.
If the Buckeyes win this game, they get one step closer to the playoffs and all but rule out Penn State's chances. Sooner fans will want to tune into this one. Kickoff is going to be Saturday at 11.
James, the Sooners do need a lot of help to get to the playoffs. What's your key for them to make it?
Well, Oregon's only loss on the year comes to Auburn. So I'm going to say my keys for the game for OU to make it will be Oregon needs to lose before the Pac-12 championship, and they also need to win that championship game. How about you, Chloe?
Well, my keys are LSU needs to stay undefeated and win their conference to make a good case for only one SEC team in the CFP. And the Crimson Tide needs to fall to Auburn in the Iron Bowl for OU to really have a shot. That's just what I think.
Hey, I like that, Chloe. And Chloe and Marty, it's been a really fun semester of sports, hasn't it?
It has. Antonio Brown shenanigans, K-State upsetting OU in Manhattan, and another Heisman hopeful.
Hey, don't forget about Myles Garrett's WWE's fight against the Steelers.
And although we're here at the desk, everyone behind the scenes, they're the real heroes of the show.
Producers Caroline and Matt, AP's Tyler and Jr., brief anchor Josh,
EP Sam, and the floor and control room crew. None of this would be possible without you. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you next semester. Matt, take us home.